It seems that we are always running away from the voice that is inside of our heads. We're always trying to get away from it. We're always looking for a distraction. We always need something to listen to. We need something to watch. We need someone to talk to. We need to be stimulated. We need to be engaged. We need music. Even when we are alone with ourselves, we need music. We need some type of noise. And what is the purpose of noise? The purpose of noise is to drown something out. And that something is quietness. Because we know quietness doesn't really exist. Because the more quiet the outside world becomes, the louder the voice becomes inside of our heads. The more we can hear it, the more we have to hear it. And it's nonstop. It's always going. You know, for those who have given up on the strategy of drowning that voice out with noise, many of them have picked up the practice of meditation in the attempts of stopping the voice. So we're either running away from the voice, distracting ourselves from the voice, or trying our best to stop the voice. What is it about this voice that makes us want to get away from it so badly? And when you really think about how much energy and time we place into getting away from the voice, no matter what the strategy we use is, we put so much of ourselves into getting away from the voice. The voice is what separates us from other beings. It's what gives us a different level of intelligence. And yet we are always running away from it. And at the same time, we're using that voice to create things to run away from it. It really is an interesting paradox how it works. But what people miss and what many don't understand, and what I think they would be shocked to understand, is that you don't have a voice inside of your head. You are the voice inside of your head. I'll say that again. You are the voice inside of your head. And you're constantly trying to have a conversation with yourself, most times about yourself. And for most of us, having an honest dialogue, an unfiltered dialogue about ourselves, with ourselves, is very difficult, because we have to accept some things that maybe we don't like, and we have to change some things that would maybe be a little too hard to change. Or maybe we feel that we benefit from the way that things are, and even though we know that things would get better if we made some changes, we don't want to go through the arduous task of doing so. We don't want to go through that wall of pain that it takes to get to the other side. So instead of listening to the voice, we ignore it. We run away from it. We find distractions. From the moment that we wake up until the moment that we go to sleep, we're constantly searching for distractions, trying to ignore ourselves. And you know it's yourself when you think about it. When you really think about it, it's very simple. If I were to cut your leg off today, would you still be you? If you were to lose your legs and your arms, would you still be you? If your whole body was burned, would you still be you? If your skin color changed, would you still be you? If you were unable to speak, would you still be you? Of course you would. And I love the example of looking at an old picture of yourself. You know, maybe when you were a kid and you look and you see that small body. And you know that was so many bodies ago, that you shed so many bodies since then, but you are still you. That voice has always been with you. Even when your body has changed dramatically, that voice has always been there. And that's because that voice has always been you. Everything else is a tool of the voice. All the rest of your being is a tool for the voice. And only some of your being actually contributes to that voice thriving, to that voice being there. And that's why people get in so much trouble when they look in the mirror and they see themselves, because they're not really seeing themselves, they're seeing their body. And then that voice starts, going, and it's saying negative things about you because of what you look like. Or maybe that voice is saying negative things, or you're saying negative things to yourself because of the situations that you're in. Instead of realizing that none of that stuff is real. All of it is a part of the experience of being here. But the only thing that's real is the voice inside of your head, which is you. That's the only thing that's real. But what happens when we stop for a moment and we pay attention to ourselves and we listen? Well, the first thing that you may experience is that wall of pain. Hearing the things that you really don't want to hear. And some of them are going to be true and some of them are not going to be true. Some of the things that we tell ourselves are things that other people told us and we have accepted as truth. The only way that you're ugly is if someone told you that you're ugly and you believed it. The only way that you're not smart, that you're not intelligent, that you are never going to amount to anything, that you're not capable of anything, that you don't deserve love, those things only become true when you accept them as truth. And so to stop and hear that voice, because that voice, despite how much we run from it and despite how distracted we are from it, that voice continues to control our lives. That voice, when we're on autopilot, that voice controls everything. So it pays to stop and listen to it, because a lot of what that voice is saying, in fact, everything that voice is saying, is governing how you live your life. And how you live your life is going to be the difference between suffering and heaven on earth. We create our own suffering, and it starts with that voice in our head. What have you accepted as truth? And so what people have to do is to stop and to listen. What relationship works when you're ignoring your partner? None of them work when you're ignoring your partner. Your partner is trying to tell you something, but you're ignoring your partner. It's not going to work. And there is no greater relationship than the relationship that you have with yourself. There's no bigger relationship. There's no more impactful relationship than the one that you have with yourself. So you have to listen to yourself. You have to listen to the lies, and you have to listen to the truth, and you have to ask yourself what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And then you have to go about the process of making the changes that fit, making the changes that are aligned with where you want to see your life go. You look around and you see everybody's running, and the person who's staying still and listening is the one who's odd. So for those who are looking for answers to some of life's biggest questions, their own questions inside, the answer is very simple. Be still. Allow the criticisms, allow the lies, allow the attacks, and then listen to the answer. Because you will always give it to yourself.